W.F. Howes presents an unabridged recording of The Hated Cage, an American tragedy in Britain's most terrifying prison, by Nicholas Guyatt. Narrated by Mark Elstob. Introduction. There were dead Americans in the yard. It was dark now, and Frank Palmer didn't know how many. Dartmoor Prison, perched on high moorland in southwest England, was a place where even the British thought the weather was bad. The morning of the 6th of April, 1815, had felt like the first day of spring, but the rare opportunity to spend time outdoors had only exposed the prisoners' restiveness. The War of 1812 had been over for 2 months, and more than 5,000 Americans were still locked within Dartmoor's massive walls. In the afternoon, hundreds of them had started an impromptu fight, throwing mud at each other and then at the British soldiers who were guarding them. The commotion made it easy to miss the smaller crowd of prisoners who were trying to punch a hole in the inner wall between the prison yard and the barracks building. Surely they didn't think they could escape from Britain's most fearsome prison. After the winter just gone, the guards believed the Americans capable of anything. When the sport in the yards led to the breaching of the prison's inner wall, the situation deteriorated rapidly. The shooting started after 6 in the evening. Frank ran back to his prison block and cowered for an hour or more, listening helplessly to the screams. As British soldiers moved through the yard, prisoners fell in all directions. Crowds of Americans ran to the prison blocks and thrashed against the locked doors. The guards fired on them too. Frank's estimation of British humanity had never been high. During the 18 months he'd spent as a prisoner of war in Bermuda, Canada, and now in Britain, he'd recorded terrible things in his diary. But nothing had prepared him for the guards firing into the prison blocks, through the doors and narrow windows, killing and wounding without mercy even those Americans who had tried to shelter from the trouble. When the shooting stopped, the wounded were too afraid to emerge from the blocks and cross the yard to the prison hospital. Men lay bleeding and groaning all around Frank's hammock until the prison's governor, who was known as the agent, sent word that the injured should be brought out for treatment. The agent was a Royal Navy captain named Thomas Shortland, who lived with his wife and children in a house at the front of the prison. When he had taken over at Dartmoor in December 1813, the Americans had viewed him as a good man. But survivors of the
Sample complete. Ready to continue?